Hello, welcome to the new season of the Father Samba podcast. I'm your host, Father Samba. I bring you the news and the tunes. So you might actually be wondering why I'm introducing the new season. Well, I'll tell you why. When I started out the podcast, I wasn't sure how often I would do it and how I'd even do it. The format that I do is pretty simple, actually. What I would do is I would normally write down a certain type of things I would want to talk about, write a script, record it, edit it, boom, upload it. Another thing that I would kind of do is every now and then I would make clips on YouTube, which is good. People want to see a little version of what you're doing, but it takes a lot of time to do it well. So I kind of fell off and I wasn't really doing the little animated bits because, one, it took a lot of time. Second, I just don't have the time. Over the summer, I was going to school full time, and yeah, I could do a couple of videos here and there, but there's nothing that I could do regularly because, quite honestly, my energy was being used for other purposes. And then the school year started, and working about 20-something hours a week, going to school full-time. It was a whole thing. It was a chore. I just couldn't do the podcast. Also, I don't want to record and then annoy everyone around me because I had to do the same take over and over again. I just took a break. Also, I didn't have a lot of inspiration for writing. I just was too focused on school. I couldn't write a lot. I couldn't get in the right think space, I couldn't get in the mindset where I wanted to write, had the inspiration. It was just hard, so I took a break. February, I came back, recorded one episode because I was home, and then I had enough written where I could kind of stretch out an episode. It may not. I think it did okay, considering how I'm a small podcaster. I don't have that many listeners. But I'm hoping to build. I really am. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for this next season. Many of my people who are listening are friends of mine. Many of them know me personally. We may even talk on a regular basis. What I'm trying to figure out is, what do you want me to do? Because I could continue the format that I was doing where I write a script, read it out loud, and if you want me to send you the script so you can read along, I can send it to you. Yeah, I could do that. I'm thinking about doing something else. I'm thinking about maybe having conversations with guests. I could have episodes happen more frequently, more regularly, and it doesn't take as much time to edit because I'm assuming I just have a conversation with someone, unscripted. It won't be just me reading off the script. Oh no, I stumbled over a word. I have to make a cut here, gotta adjust the audio so it makes sense. I might just try to do a little more that's less edited. This is a heavily edited show, or at least for my standards. I'm not going to pretend that I'm doing a Marvel Cinematic Universe here in my bedroom. No. The Father Samba podcast Cinematic Universe. That's a podcast. Wonderful, yeah. But another thing that I'm planning on doing is I might tone back a little bit of the opening segment with the news. Not sure how many people care, but honestly, looking back, a lot of it can be pretty dated because I was talking mainly about the pandemic, and Spotify have the click here to get the information on COVID. Because let's just say another guy who had a podcast was talking about COVID, and let's say a lot of the stuff was controversial. So because of that, they have the warnings. I kind of want to not have a warning on my podcast. I want it to be, palatable. If it makes any sense at all. I might be completely insane. I might have knocked over my ibuprofen. Okay. Thank you for putting up with me and my insanity. Let's get to the good part, the scripted part. I was living at campus. That meant that I saw my family less frequently. It's lonely, I know. But whenever I visited my grandparents, this usually meant one thing: beer cans. This is how they help out their poor collegiate grandson. Beer cans. Here's the problem. I don't visit them as often as I should. I say this because whenever I come for beer cans, the boxes usually fill my car up like a cargo ship. I faced another problem once I reached the store. You see, there's a limit on how many cans you can deposit in a day. It's a state law. You can't deposit more than $25 worth of cans in a given day. But who follows that? Here's what I do. I load up my cart and head toward the bottle room. Like the Eagles, I take it to the limit. If I go over, I put the boxes back in my car and just head on to a different store. Yeah, you get stares for bringing that many cans to the store. To them, you were the one who drank all the beer. Hey, it can't be me. I'm not sad enough to stoop to such a low as Coors. My grandpa hates returning cans, though. He keeps them in the garage until I come over. That means that I'm bringing months' worth of cans. I'm not on some sort of bender. But it's always fun guessing how much money I'll make. One time it totaled $91. This endeavor took 2 days complete. The first day I visited 3 stores. I revisited a store the next morning. Why morning? So no one will recognize me. And after that, I deposited the $91 in the bank. In this day and age, cash isn't money to me. Put it on plastic and I'll spend it. It seems like other people don't have the same experience. When talking with a coworker, I told her about the $91 I made. She acted all surprised. Wait a minute, you're telling me they had over 900 beer cans? And yours don't? But yes, they did. But hey, I'm not an alcoholic. But $20 is $20. Recorded a new episode sooner, but I got this rare disease. One you may have actually heard of. COVID. Coronavirus. The big Rona. But it wasn't just me. I'm not that original. The whole family, all 4 of us. My dad got it first, then me, then my mother. My sister was lucky enough not to get it, but unlucky enough to deal with the rest of us sickies. I was the lucky one. You see, when 4 people are exposed to COVID, you don't want to be the first. Think about it. The moment your test is positive, you're a pariah. And for good reason. If anyone else gets sick, it's kind of your fault. You brought it to everyone else. Even if you're the careful one, you're the one who's gotten everyone's britches in a twist. Everybody's mad, and it might not have been your fault. Not everyone was licking rats and kissing doorknobs, but it doesn't matter. To the negative folk around, you're nothing more than filth. I was really lucky to be number 2, though. The novelty of it is still new, but there isn't half the backlash. Best of all, you get sympathy from the first person to get it. If they're not sick enough, you can bond because you don't have to wear masks around each other. You still have to be careful, but, not that careful. I mean, someone else already has it. You just gotta avoid the other 2. And in no time, you'll get better. But by person number 3, you think the virus has won. That first person might be feeling better, but now more than half the house has gotten it. You might not be completely hopeless, though. If you know you're not going to die, you can start getting petty. He had it, I had it, and now you have it. How original. Why can't you get a new strain? We all know what this one does. It's not cute anymore. It isn't. By number 4, everyone is sick of this. You just want to kick that last person out. Everyone else had their time of coughing, sneezing, and rubbing Vicks Vapor Rub on every crack and crevice of their body. Just stop it. And at that point, you're just pretending. Oh, what? You're sick? Boo-hoo. Oh, you need NyQuil? We don't got any. Here, drink some Cuervo. Same thing. And I know what you're thinking. You shouldn't joke about COVID. Lots of people died. Here's the thing. After 2 years of the pandemic, you need to laugh at something. Also, we're on weaker strains right now. Omicron is no Delta. Delta was Heath Ledger's as the Joker. It was scary, and you felt bad for everyone he killed. But this is the Omicron variant. This is Jared Leto. Kind of weak. Before everyone said their take, I want to talk about Netflix. Because if you want to learn how to run a business, this isn't how you do it. Close your eyes. Imagine you're leading the company that kicked Blockbuster to the curb. But now you have all these competitors. You've got your Hulu dancers, Disney Pluses, and HBO Maxes. And Peacock, if you're feeling generous. With all these new companies streaming shows, what could you possibly do? Oh, let's lose all the shows that made your service great. Yeah, losing The Office was like One Direction after Zayn left. You're not dead yet, but your days are numbered. Worst of all, NBC is using The Office as their flagship series for their platform. Yeah, a show that ended a decade ago. Yeah, sure, do a reunion. Maybe it'll remind people of how the show couldn't be made now. Think about it. Michael would make a terrible boss. What, sexual harassment, hostile work environment. Dunder Mifflin would be getting all these lawsuits if they were an actual company. It's weird how Oscar was the only one who made a formal complaint. It's the rare time homophobia had consequences back then. And Toby, I feel bad for the guy. I've realized how much I'm like him. I too am quiet and hated by everyone. What else do they do? Oh yeah, make some of the most unwatchable excuses for television. Super Drags, Hoops, Richie Rich, Big Mouth. What a concept in it. Make a show full of middle schoolers referencing shows they're too young to know. Oh, and they're horny. They're all horny. This might be because I went to Catholic school, but there weren't that many kids getting intimate at that age. I knew one couple that did it, and that was it. The sensory torture was limited to just 2 people, not 24. And what's the complaint that everyone gives about these shows, outside them being horrible? Oh yeah, it's how needlessly political they are. But it's not deep-cutting commentary either. It's like they're trying to sneak a BuzzFeed article into every script they write. If it's a stamp special, there's a chance you can get lectured by some millionaire about why you're just awful. I don't need you to tell me. That's what the inner monologue in my head is for. Now that the content's out of the way, how about the business practices themselves? The main point about Netflix was that you mooched off of someone else's account. But since they're cracking down password sharing, you better hope to God you can watch your shows. This won't make the number of subscriptions go up. If they didn't want to pay already, what makes you think they want to pay now? Worst of all, they're raising prices. Viewership is already down. How do you know if a show is a hit if people lose access to your service? Oh, here's how. You get some of these limp-boned critics who will give you a favorable review. The more soulless and woke it is, the higher the score you get in Rotten Tomatoes. Don't look there for reviews. You gotta hear what the people have to say. And the people don't think we need another special from Amy Schumer. It's basic economics. The demand is plummeting for Netflix. Your prices should be going down, not up. And all they can promise are their originals. Since they don't have the back catalog like Disney, it puts a lot of pressure on new releases. For every Squid Games, you get cuties. I'm not saying they're kaput, but they definitely won't get back to where they were back in 2019. Netflix replaced Blockbuster, but it will soon join Blockbuster as it fades into obscurity. There you go. There's some news for you. I'm not going to delve too much into a lot of other things. I kind of missed the whole Will Smith slap thing. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to say it's stupid. Dave Chappelle also got assaulted on stage. It's stupid. I mean, if you're going to perform on stage, you should at least be able to talk without getting hit or risk getting hit. I'm not sure if that's the sort of stuff you want me to talk about with the news. How about check out my Instagram account? I can just read your comments. You can let me know what you want me to do, what I did wrong, what you think I should do better. It's just Father Samba, one word, FATHERSAMBA. You gotta check it out. Also, the link tree will give you a link to a whole bunch of sweet, amazing stuff. You got the podcast, the YouTube channel. I made a TikTok too. So yeah, if you want to check out my TikTok, I do have a couple of videos. I'm not going to upload a whole lot on that because I don't need to have a fountain of cringe coming out of there. However, if you want to check it out, it's just username father_Samba. I've got a couple of videos on there already. A lot of them are old, 2020 old. So yeah, a lot of it's just me being a bored kid, alone. I'm always alone. Yeah, way to go, and then me being the super sad, depressing type. But if you want to check those out, sure. If you want me to make more clips, sure. I've got a lot of content that I could use. I've written a lot, I've recorded quite a bit, I put out quite a bit. If you want me to make clips, let me know. Give me some time. I'm not made of time, and I'm certainly not made of money. So, I'm not sure if I'll be able to make a whole bunch of clips like the ones that I made on my YouTube channel, but I need to make sure that I actually keep up to date on YouTube too, because not everyone can sit around and listen to 20 or 30 minutes of me just yammering on like an idiot. And I'm going to make it completely self-aware. A lot of these podcasts, people just listen to them as a form of background noise. But, if you're going to listen to background noise, how about let me be your background noise? I can be the guy just yammering about the stupid things you want me to rant about. Whether if it's Funko Pops or LaCroix, all of that, I've got a lot to rant about. I'm kind of a weird person. I'm kind of a person who shares my thoughts with my friends. You know what? If you listen to enough of my shows, it's like we're friends. It's just me yammering on about stuff you probably don't care about, but you gotta pretend that you do. But you gotta give me some feedback if you want me to do some more. I'm not sure how many times I'm gonna have a guest on the show. I might try to do it every other episode. Because, sure, I like writing stuff for you. I like to give my 2 bits of information. But it takes a while for me to come up with the thoughts and inspiration to write. I've also been trying to figure out what good music I should listen to while I write stuff. Yeah, some people, they like the lo-fi beats to study to, or whatever it's called. Or if you're British, the lo-fi Boris waves to get Brexit done to. But honestly, that's not the stuff that I listen to. I listen to really weird music. I could spend maybe a whole episode just incoherently babbling about some of the stuff I like. Yeah, I think I was in the 0.5% of magnetic fields listeners, which, if you listen to as much magnetic fields as I do, you're probably really depressed. But I'm not saying I'm healthy either. I've also been listening to some Tom Waits too, so if you're interested in a guy who kind of sounds like Cookie Monster, then you should check him out. He's got a whole lot of stuff you can listen to. Yeah, his first album, Closing Time, he doesn't even sound like he does. He sounds more like a Bob Dylan type, where his voice is smooth. Not completely that you've come to know in his later albums. It's definitely a fun listen. A lot of his songs are about loneliness and sadness and getting drunk, the American dream. But for real, he's got some good albums. You have to be kind of crazy to like him, though. I'm not going to pretend that his music is for everyone. Some people, they're really going to hate it, but their opinion is totally valid, though. They might not like it. I understand. I don't like a lot of stuff that's popular, so I get it. Not everything's for everyone. Okay, I actually took a look to see. Your top artist was the Magnetic Fields. You're in the top 0.01% of their listeners this year. Yeah, that's accurate. Can be honest, 69 Love Songs is a good album. It's almost 3 hours long, but, for an album that long, it delivers. It's got all kinds of songs. Songs that are sad and sound sad, and then songs that are sad but sound happy. They've got range. And, yeah, I get it. Not everyone's going to appreciate their genius. I get it. I have weird taste, but I've accepted that. I am a weird person. I listen to weird music. But you didn't listen to this whole podcast just for me to end it by saying I'm weird. Yeah, I know I'm weird. I've got a rant lined up. You might like it, you might not. Oh well, we're gonna get through this together. There's something we've heard a lot this past pandemic or so. Nobody wants to work. They had to close McDonald's. It's empty there. Heavens to Murgatroyd, no one wants to work. And you know who says this the most? It's always the oldest and crustiest of the neighborhood. The ones who aren't working. That, or it's the spoiled rich kids who don't have to work because their little daddy can get them in wherever they go. Either way, I don't want to hear it. I heard it when I lived on campus. Our dining hall closed at 8 instead of the usual 10 o'clock at night. Someone had the nerve to blame it on unemployment checks. Are you sure about that, Jack? Because those benefits were about to dry up, and you'd have to find another job. Sure, there were some full-timers working there, but it was the students keeping that place afloat. And how many students do you think get those checks? Not enough for it to be the reason. And are we going to pretend that companies were all saviors during the pandemic? No. They worked people twice as hard for the same wage. Why didn't you come back to the office? Sure, you gained 30 pounds and got a puppy, but the owner's 60 and he can't handle Zoom. You need to tell him what a PDF is, and then the rent has to be paid. Now isn't that appealing? I understand why a lot of people quit their jobs because of the pandemic. I did it too, so I can empathize with people not working with these crazy conditions. But here's the thing. You can't be jobless forever. Eventually, you have to pay those bills. If you need proof that people want to work, try applying to a job that isn't retail or food service. Still entry level, but much harder to get hired. I wanted Indeed to look for jobs, and they show you a range of how many people applied for a position. If nobody wants to work, take a guess to see how many people applied to entry-level jobs. One job had between 136 to 140 applicants. What job is this? Administrative assistant. Entry level. They prefer a year of customer service. I'd be qualified under normal circumstances. The circumstances being before everyone and their grandmother decided to apply this job. I can't name that many people who are living today, yet that's how many people apply to a job that pays between $12 to $20 an hour. What kind of a range is that? Whoever got hired must know they're getting paid $13, because no one's making $20 an hour, not even in fairy tale land. Is that not enough? Do you need more proof? Here's another. Same line of work. 156 to 160 people applied. Another one. Look at this. It got over 500 applicants. 500 applicants. I'll say this much about the company. At least they were quick to send a rejection email. If you're a young person, you're not getting the job. Sure, you're young, you're smart, you're full of energy. But you can't compete against Carol, the 50-year-old with a high school diploma. Carol had been working for longer than you've been alive, so they're going to hire her over you. Maybe I won't blame the boomers for this. Their children, though, the Gen Xers, are making this job market equally difficult. After a while, I thought, well, this is terrible. Let's get less choosy. How about I bite the bullet and look for retail jobs? I looked at one, and they wanted a cover letter. What? A cover letter? You pay less than $15 an hour, and you expect me to write a personalized letter about why I want to work here. I got baptized. That there preacher man told me I can make a living putting peaches on shelves. So that's why I devote my life to the Lord and Savior, and to put peaches on shelves. Come on now. If you want anyone to work for you, how about you don't expect essays for a job with very little reading? Food for thought. So that's the state of the world. You can't find a decent job because they're oversaturated. And I know some of you may be thinking, you have to earn it. Oh, I did enough to earn it. I have enough customer experience for an entry-level job, which is saying a lot for it being entry-level. And I thought I went to school long enough to where I can apply for something that isn't McDonald's. So if I hear one more person more in the jobs that nobody wants, I've got 2 words to say. Shut up. And that's the podcast. Thank you for listening. Season 2, we might have some guests, we might not. Let me know. Check out the social medias. Thank you and goodbye.